Hello everybody, this is Namanjan coming out with a new tutorial. So a lot of you guys were just wondering if I'm going to stop the 3D series or not. No, as I said before, I won't stop the 3D series. I will still be continuing, so you guys don't need to worry. So let's go back to our old series. So last time we left off by dragging an item in the inventory, but we had quite some bugs. For example, there is a lot of things that doesn't make sense. For example, when I drag this item from here to here, I can just drag it away and then just do weird stuff, I guess. Wait. Yeah, it just vanished away. And then there are just a couple of bugs over there, which I can't find, but I'm pretty sure there are a couple of bugs. I'm just not sure on how to... yeah. Okay. So basically, first of all, well, over here there's bugs, but first of all, to counter the bug is what we're gonna do is here, as we see, after we add the item, when we drag and add the item to the inventory, we have to actually set our temp to null, because once we remove the item from the inventory and put it back, our job of dragging is done, and therefore we have to set temp to null. So let's go and so now this is just gonna get rid of all the weird bugs we had before. And now another problem is that if you move from an empty square to another empty square, it's gonna give an error saying that there's a null. We're gonna fix that. And also, if you drag it over, oops, if you drag it over here out of bounds, you just lose the item, which is kind of stupid, because you just lost the item. So what we're gonna do is after if it is not successfully added the item to the inventory, we want to get it back to its original position. So what we're gonna do is if add item. So this is gonna return a boolean, I'm pretty sure. Where's that? Oh, it doesn't. Never mind. So what we're gonna do is here we're gonna add a boolean. So we're gonna return a true bool. Bool. We're gonna return a bool, and if it has successfully added an item, we're gonna return true. And if it has not successfully added an item, we're gonna return false. So here, as it breaks, it returns false because it has not returned an item. Return false because it has successfully not returned an item. Over here as well. But over here we're gonna return true because it has successfully added an item after adding the item over here. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna say if add item. We're not going to do anything because it has successfully added the item, but else we're gonna add the item back to its original position. So we're just gonna copy paste the statement, and let's put this to temp.x and temp.y, because that is the original position of them. Hopefully we don't have any bugs. No, we don't. So that works as normal, and my scroller is acting okay. Yeah. And then, as you can see, if we go out of bounds, it actually replaces it back over here, so that's not a problem. So now what we need to deal with is actually with this error as well, when you drag an empty to an empty one empty slot to another empty slot. So that is very simple. What we're going to do is we're going to make a check over here. If temp is not equal to null, or actually let's not do it over here. We're going to go over here to the second if statement, and we're going to say if temp is over here, if temp is not equal to null, you're going to do all of this over here. And let's just indent to make it look nicer. So as you can see, if temp is not equal to null, we're gonna do all this operation over here. And if it is equal to null, we're just not going to do anything because temp is null and we have nothing to do with it. So now, as we can see, this works, and then when I drag from an empty item to an empty item, it doesn't make any weird error. Now when I click on it and use it, it actually doesn't delete it, so that's another error. So I click on it and I can drag from any. This is very weird, isn't it? So let's try to fix this error. So basically, to counter that problem, we're going to go back over here to the same method in detect mouse action. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to this if statement over here, if second select x is not equal to selected x. So this basically checks if you're putting it in the same coordinate or not, if you're putting the item in the same coordinate or not. What we're going to do is else. So if you're actually putting it in the same coordinate, we're going to add item to it to the same coordinate, and then we're going to set temp to null, like that. We're going to go ahead and play. I'm going to check if it works. So as you can see, it puts it back over there with no issues. So now the last problem is when we actually drag, because as you can see, when we drag, it kind of vanishes the item, but we want it to show the item on the mouse position. So as we move it around, it actually drags with it. So what we're basically going to do is we're going to, when we click on the chest piece, it stores it in the temp. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw the temp at the mouse position. Okay, so basically what you're going to do is you're just going to make a new method somewhere here. I'm going to say void draw temp item. Let's actually make it over here. It doesn't really matter where you make it, it's just a preference. I just prefer to draw it over here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to say if temp is not equal to null. So if temp actually exists, which in turn means that you're actually in the process of dragging, we're going to draw the texture. I'm going to say new rect. Let's just leave it like that for now. And then we're going to draw the temp dot image. Okay, so now we need the coordinates. So now we want to draw it on the x and y position. So wait, let's go over here. This is the actual x and y position I will explain just now. So this is the x position, input mouse position dot get x, and then screen height minus input dot mouse position. I think I've already explained why is it screen height minus input dot mouse position dot y. I won't explain again. And then you're gonna have temp dot x, no, temp dot width. No, it's not temp dot width. It's temp dot width times width, because width is just in terms of the squares, but you actually want the actual width. So it's item temp dot width times width, which gives you the actual width because it is times this width. And temp dot height times height, because this gives you just the grid width, temp dot width. It does not give you the absolute width. And then we have to actually call this method in the what do you call it, over here in the on GUI. So you're going to say draw temp item. Okay. And let's see if it works. So as you can see, it actually drags with our mouse. Okay, so now since we have actually made the basic functionality of the inventory system, like dragging and adding an item, we need to make a use of the item, so we need to add a use to the actual item. But before we do that, I'm going to show you how to add the item to the inventory. So for example, if you kill this mob over here, I want to show you how it would actually drop this item physically as an item mesh, and how you would actually pick it up and add it to your inventory. So for this, you'll actually need to make a mesh. Let's say create empty, and you're going to create a mesh over here. Game object, and you're going to name it chest piece, or anything you want to, or like this. So did I create an empty? Sorry, you shouldn't be creating empty. I'm going to create a cube, and we're going to imagine this cube over here. It's already scaled. No, it's not. So we're going to just make this look a little bit like a chest, even though it does not look like a chest. Oops. So let's imagine this to be a chest. It's a pretty good chest. So we're just gonna chest piece, just like that. And what we're gonna do is, so this chest piece is the physical item. It's not the same as the item in your inventory, so we need a separate script for this. We're gonna add a component, and call it physical item script, and it's gonna be a C#, of course. You're gonna go to physical item. Oops. And then okay, there we go. So what this physical item is gonna have is, it's gonna have a reference to what the actual item in the inventory should be like. So for example, just chest piece, if you go to your GUI in your hierarchy and you see the items script, it's gonna have a armor inspector over here, and it has an element 0, element 1, and element 2. So in this case, this chest is gonna, this mesh over here is gonna represent the element 0. So that way, every one of these scripts is gonna have a public int item rep. Let's call it public int item rep. And what you're gonna do is, as you see in this chest piece, it has an item rep, and let's make it 0 because it is representing the 0th element. So what happens is, every time you click on this item, it's going to go and say, I'm just writing over here, the code is not going to be over here, it's going to say maybe inventory dot add item, so it's going to use the add item in the inventory. So and it's going to get the item from this items inspector and add it to the inventory. So for that, what we need is we actually need a public item, and when it starts, it's going to initialize this item. So it's going to say item is equal to it's going to go to this script over here, and it's going to get the armor with int id 0, because we want the id 0, and that's why item rep is 0. So we're going to say items.get armor item rep. So now it actually has a reference to its item that it is representing. So now we can actually add it to the inventory when we pick it up. Let's hope for no errors. And we do have an error. Oh, that's I think that's because this is supposed to be awake. Yep. So just make it to awake, because awake happens after start, and this has to happen after everything is initialized. So just put in awake. Just put in awake. It's just the thing you need to know is it happens after start and after everything is initialized. So what we're going to do is, we're going to make a method to check if you have actually clicked on it. Basically, the method to check to click on it is void on mouse down. So this is again a method just from Unity, and what happens is, whenever you click on it, it's going to just go on into this method. It's going to say pick me up. just for now. And make sure that your chest has a collider, box collider, or some kind of collider. And make it so that it's just on the ground, maybe just sitting on the ground. That's how armors are usually. So, yeah. Let's make it a little smaller. Just looks very weird. There we go, that looks a little bit normal. Okay. So now we're just gonna play, and as you can see, when I click on it, it says pick me up over there, as you can see. Okay. So what we're gonna do is after we click on it, we first want to destroy this item because we're gonna pick it up, so it destroys the item. And second, we actually want to add it to this inventory, so we want to actually call this over here, boolean add item. But to actually call this we actually need to have an instance of the inventory. So what you're going to do is you're going to have a public static inventory. Now the reason it's static is because there's only one inventory, and every item is going to have this static inventory because it's the same inventory amongst every item. And we're going to initialize this as well. And I'm just thinking on how are we going to do that. So basically, in our physical item, you're going to have another, you're going to say public game object GUI. I'll explain why. And in our rate, we're going to say GUI is equal to, inventory is equal to GUI.get component, and we're going to get the component script. And we're going to go to our test piece, and you can see we have a game object, and then you're going to drag the GUI object over here, and the GUI object is the one that has inventory. So as you can see, we got the inventory script from this, and it's going to initialize it to our inventory script over here. And over here, we just, I don't know why they take it out, debug.log pick me up. And what you're going to do is you're going to say inventory dot add item dot it's supposed to be public. So you go back to your inventory, and you're gonna say bool add item, or actually 1 second. Yep, where it says add item, we're gonna make this public. Okay, this is a little weird, but let's just hold on. So we're just gonna have public over here, and what we're gonna do is gonna go to our physical item, and we're gonna say inventory.add item. For now, we're gonna say 0, 0, and then we're gonna actually given the item we want to add item. Or actually, we're gonna say items.getArmor items.getArmor item rep. And what we're actually gonna do is we're gonna delete this over here, this statement over here, items is equal to items.getArmor, and we're gonna delete this one over here. Okay. So let me just explain you the script. So in our awake, we're going to initialize the GUI component from the GUI object, and we have a static inventory script that every item is going to access, and you have an int that represents the item. And when you click on it, it says pick me up, and it adds the item, and it gets the item from the items list, and it gives in the ID, which is the item that it's representing. And it adds it to 0, 0 for now. Well, let's add it to actually let's say 4 4, just for now. Or can it even add it to 4 4? 1 2 3 4. Wait. It says it's set to null, and that's because the solution to that would be to take this over here, this line in awake, and put it on mouse down. And in fact, what we can do is we're just going to take this debug.log and move it to the top. And we don't need this awake anymore. And so what it's going to do is it's going to say pick me up, and then it's going to initialize the inventory to the GUI component. And then it's going to add the item, and let's actually put in 3 3. So it's going to add the item this to 3 3. And hopefully it works, and it actually adds it to the nope. 0 1 2. For some reason it didn't pick it up. Let's actually put in debug.log and see what it has to say. So I'm checking if it actually says true or false. No, it says false, so it's actually not adding it. Let's actually do one thing. Let's go to our inventory, and where you have the test method, where's the test method? Oh, there it is. Let's just take them out, and let's add it to so we just remove them, and let's add our physical item to 0 0. So basically our inventory is empty now, so we can just freely add stuff. And now hopefully I can add it. So as you can see, when I pick it up, it puts it on 0 0. So now basically, as you can see, when you pick it up, it puts it in the 0 0. And what we want to do is we want to destroy it. So we're going to say destroy this. So after you pick it up and put it in your inventory, the job is done, and it has to destroy it. Sorry about that. It has to destroy itself. And today is not a good day. It does not destroy itself. Okay, we can deal with that later. But now what we want to do is we actually want to add it to the inventory in such a way that it checks if we can add the item in every possible way. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a for loop. Or actually, we're gonna do this in our inventory. So we're gonna go back to our inventory system over here. We're gonna make where is add item? We're gonna make a public bool add item, and this time it's not gonna take an X and Y, but it's only gonna take an item, because this time it's gonna try to add it to the inventory in such a way. It's just gonna try to add it to the inventory in every possible manner, and the moment it can add it to the inventory, it's gonna add it to the inventory and exit. So for this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a for loop, which you can actually int x is less than slot width size. Oh, sorry. Int x is equal to 0, and x has to be less than slot width size. Am I zoomed in? Okay. Width size. And you're gonna say x plus plus. And then we're gonna have another for loop for y. Height size, and it's going to be y plus plus. So it's basically going through each and every slot and trying to add it to each and every slot. So you're going to say if add item, if you're able to add the item, add x comma y, and if you're able to add this item over here without the semicolon at the end of if statement, so you're trying to add it, And if it is actually able to add over here, so if it is actually able to add, we're gonna return true. But if it is never able to add, we're gonna go back over here and return false, because it is never able to add an item. So now we can actually make this over here private bool add item xy, and make this one over here public. We're going to go over to physical item, and we're going to say add item, and then we don't need to give in the 0, 0. So we're going to say debug.log inventory.add item, and we try to add that item. You're going to play. You're going to click it. So as you can see, it's adding it to the next possible manner as we every time click on it. So now what we want to actually do is, after we click on it, we want to actually destroy it so that we don't keep on clicking on it and it keeps on adding to our inventory, because it's just duplication of items, and that is something you don't really want. So destroy this did not work for some reason. Let's just let's say this dot deactivate. No, I honestly don't know why this did not work. You have to say destroy game object, because it has to destroy the actual game object. Let's hope that works. And don't mind these system out prints, we can just debug.logs, because we can just delete them. Hopefully it works now. There we go. As now we clicked it, it goes away, and we actually added a physical item to our inventory. So now it transfers, it actually, as you can see, it converts a physical item to an item into our inventory. So thank you for watching my tutorial. If you've liked it, please share, comment, subscribe. It really helps. And soon I'm gonna actually reach 1,000 subscribers, so that's really great. I'm really happy, guys. You guys are really awesome. I didn't actually expect to get so far. Keep it up, guys. If you just guys make me feel really happy, and I'm just really excited, because I've never ever would have imagined that I would have gotten so far on YouTube, 1,000 subscribers, and I hope it gets bigger and bigger. So guys, thank you very much. Keep it up. Comment, like, and subscribe, and goodbye.